Hi, Matt with etrailer. Today we're going to be talking about the diamond USB outlet, and this is going to have a waterproof cap on it. So it's going to be something that's perfect if you want to put in your trailer, especially in the back area. If you plan on doing any type of cooking back here, just leaving it open. If some water were to get in here, we're going to have that cap that's going to give it that extra protection. This is also going to be perfect if you have any items that you need to charge real quick. That'd be easy to access. So if you have a phone charger, something for your headphones, or any other type of camping accessories that use a USB port, this is going to be the perfect thing for it. And let's take a closer look at it. So this is what it's going to look like. It's going to have some type of writing on the very front of it that's going to say USB charger, lets you know. And if I remove this, I don't have this connected to the rest of our trailer right now, just since we're doing a couple of these and we're just doing it for demonstration purposes. But when I open it up, you'll notice we're going to have two USB ports back here. So you can charge two things at once, so one of them being your phone, another one being like a spare one to use for whatever else you have. And as far as installing this into your trailer, it's really not that bad. It's pretty quick and easy. The biggest thing you need to make sure of is you have the proper things to install it. So for your trailer, you need to make sure you have the wiring already available for you. That's going to be your 12-volt wiring. And you need a 1 1/8 inch hole that you stick this into. And of course, a bracket so it can hold on to. But other than that, really you're just going to need a few tools, something to snip the wires, crimp the wires, and some type of butt connector to keep them all together. I will say if you're someone who's only occasionally using the USB ports, you're someone who's mainly using that 12-volt plug, I'd actually recommend just sticking to a 12-volt plug and going with something else. I have one right over here. It's going to be one like this. If I take it out of the packaging, I'll give you a better look at it. The way this one works is you can actually plug this into your existing 12-volt plug and take it out when you don't need it, and it's going to have two other USB ports on it. So you won't have to deal with any of that installation of this. It's going to be quicker and easier. But that's really only something I recommend if you're not really using USB ports that often, only on the occasion, because since there are going to be more middlemen in between this type of connection, it's more likely for something to go wrong. That's why I recommend something like this, where the connection is directly plugged into those USB ports. But if you are curious to see what this installation looks like, just stay tuned. We'll walk you through the process. To begin the installation process, I actually like to kind of get this bracket. You're going to have whatever type of bracket is with your vehicle. You just will need some type of bracket that this is going to fit into. It should have a similar hole, just a little round circle that this wire will go and push through, just like that. Then you're going to have a backing piece to it. This is just going to act as kind of like a nut. And if we look at the back of this, you're going to see there's some threads on here. And the only threads on this piece are going to be kind of where these tabs are. The rest of it's pretty smooth. So what I'm going to do is line up those threads with this empty section here, just like that. Push it on as much as possible. And then we're going to want to turn it some. There's about a quarter turn to do. The main thing you're trying to get done is just have this tab kind of lined up with some other threads. You can see how that tab was kind of lined up with that flat section there that was smooth. Now it's over here. Really, a quarter turn should be fine for you, just as long as it's grabbing on. And now this part is pretty much set, and we can actually wire it into our trailer. Now to do that part, you're going to need a few things. So we're going to have some butt connectors, and we specifically have heat shrink ones. You don't need heat shrink ones, just some form of butt connector. And then we're going to have something to strip the wires with. And then we're going to have this crimp here. Also, if you have some wirings and you're just replacing it with a new piece of hardware here, or a new USB port, you're probably going to have some old tabs on there. Just snip those off and you can get started. But what I'm going to do now is just kind of get that excess or that kind of tubing off the wires here. Just like that. Also, when you're doing this, you want to make sure your battery is turned off. You don't want to accidentally hurt yourself. And with these off, we can actually start making those connections. You also want to make sure that you grab the right size, that wire is going to fit through that tube there, right into the middle section. There you go. That feels like a pretty good hold. And then just going to crimp that down. I like to do this now because it's going to be a little bit more difficult if you try to do them at the same time. There you go. Then what you want to do here is also make sure which one's your power and which one's your ground. So we already know which one is which on this. The red one's going to be our power, the black one's going to be our ground. When it comes to your trailer wiring, that can be different all the time. So what I recommend doing is finding some type of tester, testing which one's the ground, which one's the power, or you can just follow these lines and see which part of the battery this connects to, and you can find it out that way. I'll just crimp this one down too. If you're finding that this isn't really sticking in there very well, you might just have to fold it over a little bit. So it's a little bit thicker, because these are some pretty thin wires. And once we secure this down, I'll kind of do the other side again. Make sure we have a good hold. Now we'll kind of pull on it too. Make sure that connection is pretty good, not falling out. And we're going to find some sort of heat source to heat up the very ends of this so it can really shrink to the edges so we get a better hold. And then you're just going to repeat that same process for your ground wire, or vice versa, depending on which one you started with. And now I'm just going to give it power. Now that we have power, I can actually test this out. I like to test it out before I mount it back into place, just in case something's not properly connected. Let's see if we get a connection here or not. And there we go. We got a little bit of power right there. So yeah, it looks like we're charging now. And everything's working the way it should be. And what I can do from this point is just mount this back into place. And really that's just going to depend on how your mount works and what kind of trailer you have. But when you have this mounted up, that'll pretty much do it for our look at the installation and some of the features of the Diamond USB outlet. Now, we're definitely curious to see what you guys are using this with, whether it be a phone like we use today or something else that's a little bit more outdoorsy and more recreational. But again, I'm Matt. Thanks for watching.